Hello and a very warm welcome. Driver ratings for the Monaco Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton wins the Monaco Grand Prix, nurses tyres. In we go, all 20 drivers covered, 0 being awful, and there's a lot of zeros this weekend, 10 being phenomenal. Let's get into it. We start with a Polishman, Robert Kubica. Standard 5 out of 10. He was having a good weekend, was ahead of Russell for a change. And then Giovinazzi basically drives into him. So you can only give him the standard 5. Disappointing for Kubica because theoretically it's 6-0 quali, 6-0 the race. Russell, he's been great. But Kubica, Giovinazzi, it's an embarrassment. George Russell, 7 out of 10. Beats Kubica again, 6-0 quali, 6-0 in the race. Beats 2 Alfa Romeos and a racing point. That's sensational by Russell. Good race. And he was on the pace of the leaders with Hamilton driving so slowly. Sergio Perez, 2 out of 10. Really struggled all weekend. He has contact with Kevin Magnussen. Magnussen goes straight on at the chicane. It's just wasn't a good weekend for Force India. He qualified 17th as well. So Lance Stroll, 0. Out in Q1 once again, 10th time in a row is it? Hit Kimi in the race, very poor, qualifies 18th, finishes 16th. Is he good enough? He has scored points this season, but is he good enough? That's the big question. Pierre Gasly, 8 out of 10. Fastest lap, no mistakes, no errors, best weekend yet in a Red Bull. But he's still not on the pace of Max, he needs to close that gap quickly. But that's his best weekend in a Red Bull. Max, 9 out of 10. Pushed Hamilton all the way. Much better Monaco weekend. Finished the Monaco weekend. Didn't have a crash in the Monaco weekend. 3rd in qualifying. 4th in the race. Got that penalty in the pit lane. His team released him into Bottas. Bottas hit the wall. Bottas gets a puncture. Had that great dive on lap 76. But Max, he had a great weekend. Kimi Räikkönen, 1 out of 10. Very poor, worst weekend since he went to Alpha. Stayed out too long, strategy was very poor. That's awful by Kimi. We're 14th quali, 17th in the race. Horrendous. Antonio Giovinazzi, 0. Blocks Hulkenberg in qualifying. We know it's difficult to overtake in Monaco, so he gets a penalty, makes it even difficult for himself. This is the worst driver all weekend for me. Blocks Hulkenberg, gets a penalty, hits Kubica, gets a 10-second penalty. Finishes last, qualifies 15th, finishes 19th. That's another driver. Him and Lance Stroll, for me, are the worst drivers on the grid. I cannot see him keeping his seat, Giovinazzi. That's horrendous. He hit 2 people, blocked Hulkenberg, shocking. Magnussen, 6 out of 10. Wrong strategy in the race, but amazing qualifying. Best of the rest in qualifying, and contact with Perez later in the race. But I give Magnussen a 6 for his qualifying. P6 in qualifying. Wrong strategy in the race. And then Grosjean, 6 out of 10. He gets blocked by Gasly in qualifying, but a brilliant race. The opposite to Magnussen. Good points. He finished 9th, but he did get that penalty for crossing the pit exit, so he gets 10th. Ricciardo goes up to 9th. Sebastian Vettel, 8 out of 10. Good race result, P2. Poor qualifying, made a couple of mistakes, lockups, practice 3, hit the barrier, but he gets 2nd, so you've got to give him 8, but he did make a few mistakes. And a very uneventful race for Vettel. Charles Leclerc. Now, I'm a big fan of Charles Leclerc, but as I said, no favouritism. 0. Home race is a disaster. Bad call by the team. Doesn't go out. Gets knocked out in Q1. And then in the race, he puts 2 world-class moves on Lando Norris at Lowe's and Grosjean at Raskas. Goes for it on Hulkenberg. Hits the barrier. And then he's got a puncture. Puts debris all over the track. And just too much damage. It's a horror weekend for the Monegasque. Lewis Hamilton, 10 out of 10. Has to be. Pole, race win, championship leader, nursed his tyres held off Max. It was a phenomenal drive by a phenomenal driver. Valtteri Bottas, 8 out of 10. Solid, no mistakes. That's all I've got written down. He was second in qualifying, gets a podium. He's still in the championship fight, but nothing much to say. Same with Lando Norris. Lando Norris, 5 out of 10. Standard 5. No mistakes. 12th in qualifying. 11th in the race. If I'm looking down there, that's my Monaco notes for the... Yeah, just standard 5 for Norris. Now, Carlos Sainz will be going on the thumbnail. It's an absolute scandal he didn't win Driver of the Day vote officially. He won my Driver of the Day. Don't worry, Carlos. I've got your back. 10 out of 10. Sensational by the Spaniard. Best of the rest. P6. Jumped a lot of cars. His strategy was superb. McLaren's strategy was superb. 9th in qualifying. 6th in the race. That's amazing by Sainz. Hulkenberg, 4 out of 10. He's been very poor the last 3 weekends. And blocked by Giovinazzi in qualifying. Qualifies 11th. Finishes 14th. So, not a very good race by Hulk. Needs to bounce back in Canada. Ricciardo, 6. A bit like Magnussen. He had an amazing qualifying. That's why he gets a 6. But, again, wrong strategy in the race. Ricciardo, arguably, would have been 6 in the race. He would have been where Sainz is. And he would have got a 10. It just shows. Wrong strategy. You get docked a few. Last but not least, the Toro Rosso boys. Danny Kvyat, 9 out of 10. Amazing. Qualifies 8th. Finishes 7th. Outstanding by the Torpedo. Is that his best ever Toro Rosso result? Have to look into that. I think it could be, you know. I don't think he's ever finished higher than 7th in a Toro Rosso. Obviously, he's been on the podium in a Red Bull. Fucking hell, mush. Albon, 9 out of 10. Best result in F1. A long stint on the softs. Grosjean did that. Long stint. Albon, he's 10th in qualifying. He's 8th in the race. There we have it. Driver ratings for the Monaco Grand Prix. Hamilton and Sainz score highly. Leclerc, Giovinazzi and who else was it? Stroll score lowly. Sainz will be going on the thumbnail. Carlos Sainz doesn't get the recognition for his amazing drive. But he will be getting the recognition by me. I mean, Hamilton, he nurses his tyres. The first 25 laps were more exciting than the whole race last year. Then it's basically followed the leader. Max gave it a go. Luckily, they both came out unscathed. That is qualifying reaction, race reaction, driver ratings done. I will be bringing out, not a rant, but my opinion about the Driver of the Day vote. It's pointless. It's a popularity parade. It's vote for your favourite driver. It's not based on the race, so it's pointless. Thanks for watching. Leave your comments down below. We'll always reply. I've got my grandma's teeth in this morning. Leave your comments down below. We'll always reply. Lewis Hamilton is the championship leader. We go on to Canada in 2 weeks. And Hamilton's got a pretty good record around there. Kubica returns to where he had that massive shunt. Obviously won the race. Had the massive shunt in 07. Wins the race in 08. Kubica, maybe that's the first race he can beat Russell. Russell won. Because Formula 2, GP2, Formula 2 don't go to Canada, so Russell might not be that great around that track. Anyway, thanks for watching. Monaco Grand Prix weekend done. Driver ratings, all 20 covered. And I love doing driver ratings. Just my opinion. Should we run down quickly? Kubica 5, Russell 7, Perez 2, Stroll 0, Gasly 8, Max 9, Kimi 1, Giovinazzi 0, Magnussen, Grosjean 6, Vettel 8, Leclerc 0, Hamilton 10, Bottas 8, Norris 5, Sainz 10, Hulkenberg 4, Ricciardo 6, Kvyat Albon 9. Thanks for watching. Adios. Comment down below. I'll always reply.